Hello, and good afternoon to you today. My name is John Okoma. I'm the Executive Director of Wakenagun Community Futures Program. As you might be aware, Wakenagun has been around for since 1995, providing small and medium enterprises business counseling and advice, how to stay successful, also providing loans to the small and medium scale enterprises in the area, um, um, to help facilitate their business enterprises. We also engage with the communities, and help facilitate community economic development initiatives of different programs, and assist communities source funding for such initiatives where we are not able to fund them. But specifically, I wanted to talk to you today about um, the programs that are running out of Wakenagan, to business enterprises in the area and communities, to help provide support during this COVID 19 pandemic era. Um, as you're aware, the government, both provincial and federal, have rolled out a number of programs to help support businesses, large, small, medium, families, households, across sectors, to be able to find a way to support those who are facing hard times during this unfortunate situation. Um, so I wanted to spend some time, a few minutes, just talking specifically again about the programs that are running out of Wakenagan to provide support for small businesses in our area, and also for community businesses um, um, in our area. As I said, my name is John Okoma. I'm the Executive Director of Wakenagan, and thanks for your time this afternoon. I'll start by just talking about a few of the programs that are out there, through the federal government and also through the provincial government. And then I would focus on those three programs that I talked about. The first one being the one running out of NACA. NACA is the National Aboriginal Capital Corporations uh, Association. After that, I'll talk about the RRF program, which is coming through from our funders. Wakenagan is part of the Community Futures Group, a program running out of across Canada actually. But our funder specifically for Northern Ontario is FedNor, and there's a program running out to support small businesses. And then finally, I'll talk about the new one that has been rolled out by the province, um, Business Continuity Fund program to also support businesses in our area. So as I said, there have been available programs, the programs that have been rolled out since this pandemic really got intense in March thereabout. And there's a few of them that I'll just mention. I won't go into details for these, and anyone who requires specifics on each of those programs can feel free to contact us, and we'll point you in the right direction, or since we don't offer those programs, or tell you what to do. So a few of them are, for example, the Ontario providing support for industrial, commercial, and small business electricity consumers during the COVID pandemic. This is still active as we speak. Again, this is to provide support for businesses and commercial enterprises who have challenges in meeting their electricity bills. There is also the Ontario Canada Emergency Commercial Rent Assistance Program, run out of the province. And this one is to help businesses that are having challenges with, paying rent, especially large enterprises, but also small enterprises. Um, there's also a program called the Ontario Investing in Reliable Internet for Northern Ontario. Again, recognizing that in this pandemic, a lot of businesses are going to, move online, and especially it will be hard hit for communities in our area in the far north, where we've already got challenged by geography. So it's a program to help provide support for businesses, that are going online. Um, There is also the Canadian Emergency Wage Subsidy. I'm sure most people will be aware of this, and this is providing 75% of whatever wage an enterprise has needs to pay up to be able to stay afloat during this period. This program, some have timelines, and some of them, their timelines have been extended. But again, as I said, if you wanted details of these programs, just feel free to touch base with us, and we'll point you in the right direction. There is also the funding to the tune of 962 million for small businesses and community support measures. This is for rural businesses and communities that has been rolled out by the federal government. There is also the Business Credit Availability Program, otherwise known as BCAP, and that's been around for large businesses also. We have a program. There's a program under the federal government is also sponsoring, that has to do with the Emergency Support Fund for Cultural, Heritage, and Sport Organizations. That's again recognizing the challenges that some of these organizations will face in that sector, and so there's some funding and support for those organizations that fall into that category. There is the Canada Emergency Business Account, which is a $40,000 facility across various financial institutions. That's been up and running for a little while now. Under the federal assistance program, I earlier talked about one that had to do with providing emergency for commercial rent assistance. This is one that is again being run by the federal government, as opposed to the first one I talked about, which was run by the Ontario provincial government. There is also the Canada Emergency Response Benefit Program, again to provide some kind of response to individuals or small businesses, very small businesses, to provide some kind of support for them. That has been open since sometime in April. And there is also support for students and new graduations affected by COVID-19. This is otherwise known as the Canadian Emergency Student Benefit Program, and will begin. This program actually began sometime in March. So these are some of the programs that we have that are available. Not the programs that we have. My apologies. These are programs that are out there that are available to provide support depending on what the organization status is, or what the household or individual status is. There is also a program for Indigenous Community Support Fund, that's to the tune of $350 million, that was also provided. So now I want to spend some time just talking about the ones that are coming out through Wakenagun. As I said, there is a lot of programs out there. I think at the last count there was well over 180 programs, different programs. But I want to focus on three that are running out of Wakenagun to provide support for businesses in the area. So the first one I want to talk about is the one that is running out of NACA. This is the IBSP ELP program. It's a loan program for small businesses in the area. It has up to a term of 48 months and it's interest free. So we don't expect payments for the first 12 months of this program. And the loan repayments will begin after the 13th month and will be fully amortized over the remainder of the term. However, principal repayments can be made voluntarily at any time, 6 months after the issuance of the loan, and there will be no fees or penalties if you want to start paying early. But again, all operating costs are eligible for this program. And so the requirement really is to demonstrate that the business has been in existence before March, when the pandemic really hit. And also demonstrate that it's been challenged or affected by the COVID pandemic situation. The form is pretty simple and detailed. We're not asking for a lot of information, but just to demonstrate that your business has been hit by COVID-19. And we also will be looking for some financial projection, 12 months out. what do you expect the business to look like from a cash budget standpoint. We don't expect duplication of funding for this, so meaning that as if these programs are relatively similar, providing support in some cases, and so we need to be clear if the business has access to a different program, because there are reasons why the government wants to be clear on how these funds are being utilized. So technically, there's no stacking, so you can collect from one program and stack up with another program, except in very exceptional cases. But we need to be aware if you've drawn down on in a particular program, if you're coming for any program running through Wakenagun. As I said, it's for a maximum amount of $40,000. There's a grant portion of that loan, which is $10,000 of the $40,000. So when the business is paying back, it's paying back actually $30,000 and not $40,000. And as I said, we don't expect any payment in the first 12 months. So that's the first program running through Wakenagun, funded through by NACA. The second program is the one that is running through coming from our Wakenagun's funder, which is FedNor, and it's called the RRRF program. This program, as I said, is running through FedNor. Again, it's for $40,000 interest-free loan, so it's 0% up until December 31st, 2022. We're not expecting any principal payments up until that point, but we have flexibility that allows principal payments to start voluntarily. Again, no fees or penalty if any businesses choose to make those payments early. 25% of that amount, again, similar to the earlier program, which is $10,000, is grant. And so we expect the payback of that loan to be $30,000 at the end of the day. Under this program, however, under the RRF program, however, if the business is not able to pay back the money, the $30,000 by December 31st, 2022, the remaining balance will be converted into a term loan of up to 5% annual interest. So effective January 1, 2023, whatever is unpaid will then, attract an interest, and we'll be looking to have that paid down with the outstanding principal by December 31st, 2025. That's the way this particular program is kind of organized. So up until December 2022, December 31, 2022, is no interest. Just expecting principal to be paid back, and 75% of what was provided to be paid back. This program under the RRRF, the CFDC will focus on providing assistance to SMEs, such as mainstream, including, for example, retail shops, restaurants, corner stores, etc., and businesses of strategic importance to our communities. As part of terms and conditions, small and medium-scale enterprises are defined as having less than 500 employees and annual sales revenues of less than $20 million. But again, we're talking really small businesses in our area, and produce goods and services for the market economy, regardless of their business structure. So it amounts to sole proprietorship, sole enterprises, cooperatives, however the business structure is, or the enterprise is organized. The applicant has to demonstrate that they've attempted to access other relief federal support programs, and for either they were eligible or ineligible. They've got to demonstrate that. As I suggested earlier on, that the program doesn't support stacking, but if an organization feels they require more than $40,000, then they've got to come and make the case for that, and then we're going to see what we can do about that situation. That will be done on a case-by-case basis. The SME or the organization must have been viable as of March 1st, 2020, meaning that the conditions existing today, we don't want an organization that has been unviable before COVID, because if you are unviable before COVID, then chances are that after COVID, you're not going to be viable anyway. So we're looking to those who are viable before the pandemic hit, and then on the back of as a result of the pandemic, have challenges in terms of keeping their business afloat. That's part of what we're kind of looking out for. So it means the businesses must have been impacted by the whole COVID pandemic situation. The federal government mandates us to report the loans that we're giving under this program separately. So we may be asking for some more additional information from our clients. So we ask that they bear with us, because the government wants to monitor how this funding rollout is occurring, and what kind of benefits or lack thereof that are coming out of that program. So there's a bit of demographics in terms of information that we're going to be pulling out from those who access the loan. So we just ask that you understand that, and that's the reason for monitoring and tracking performance on these programs. The contribution agreements will require us to submit weekly reports, so we'll be pulling reports and sending to our funders on a regular basis. So that's that for the second program, which is the RRF. The third and final program for which we're running, it's one running out of the province now, again, which is Business Continuity Fund. The program is somewhat similar. But here, instead of $40,000, the province is making available $50,000 to businesses through AFIs in Ontario. And so it's $50,000, and there's a grant component of that $50,000, which is half of that, which is $25,000. And this is up for a 24-month period from Wakenagun. And so we're looking to advance through this window $50,000, for which half of that is grant funding. And so this amount is interest-free. And as I said, it's for a 24-month period, and we don't expect any payments in the first 6 months. Loan payments begin in the 7th month and are fully amortized over the remainder of the term, which is, as I said, we're looking for a 24-month window. Principal repayments can be made voluntarily at any time 6 months after issuance of the loan, without fees or penalties. And again, they're all eligible. Your operating costs are eligible for this program. As the other programs, we'll be looking for some kind of cash flow to show how you expect your cash budget to feature in the next 12 months. That would help us make an assessment of where you are and where you're going to be in the next 12 months, and the kind of support that you want beyond the finance, that if that's available. So that's essentially the 3 programs that we're running out of Wakenagun, and I'm hoping that we can have businesses out there who are willing to take advantage of these programs. Call us in Wakenagun, or email us in Wakenagun. Just go to our website at www.wakenagun.ca and reach us in whatever way that works best for you. Our telephone numbers are there, and the contacts are there as well. So I thank you for your time. As I said, I trust that you're staying healthy and your family is keeping safe. Our best wishes from Wakenagun to you all in these very, very challenging times. Thank you.